Hey everybody, Ryan here, coming at you with a different kind of marathon video. It's a little bit after 11 at night, and I have The Godfather on. For those of you who don't know, which you must be a new subscriber to me, but The Godfather is my all-time favorite film. The Godfather Part 1 and 2 are tied as my all-time favorite film, and they have been since probably third grade or so. So yeah, I plan on marathoning these over the next 24 hours. Starting The Godfather 1 tonight. Probably not going to watch all of it. I got to get up early in the morning and wake up in the morning after I run a couple errands and do some more watching. My goal is to at least watch 1 and 2. I love 3, but my goal is 1 and 2 and maybe 3. So yeah, I plan on doing this anyways. I've been really wanting to rewatch them. I usually go through them at least once a year, and I read the book at least once every couple years. And I actually have been reading the same version of the book I first got in elementary school. I bought it from Books A Million. In fact, it's right here. In fact, I wrote on it. I got it in 2001. That's when I picked up this one. So this is actually the copy I got in middle school. I didn't get this in elementary school. I had a copy before this that I rented from the library, and it was like the same one I rented for like all the time. So yes. Back there, you've seen it in some of my other videos. I got the autofocus off. But back there, I got like the VHSs, the DVDs, and that's where I put my Blu-rays and stuff. And then down here, I actually have the novel, the annotated screenplay, and behind-the-scenes books. But that's nothing new. You guys that have been watching my channel know I'm obsessed with The Godfather, and I have been most of my life. My mom got me into them when I was younger. They're her favorite films. So yeah, I figured I'd do a little Godfather marathon video just for the fun of it. Just uploaded my 24-hour movie marathon video, so be sure to check that out if you guys haven't. Very overwhelmed and blown away with the response so far. It's been very positive. It was hell getting that video up. Post-production was terrible in terms of my computer messing up, having to bring it to the shop, the RAM issues that I was having, the computer crashing issues I was having. There's a few editing mistakes in the video, but that's just because by the time I rendered it, and I was so exhausted I couldn't even look. I didn't look over the video to double check. I should have, but it's all good. So I'm gonna go ahead and start The Godfather.
I believe in America. America has made my fortune.
You found paradise in the mountains.
Alright everybody, well I decided to go ahead and turn out all the lights.
Have the trade, made good living.
Alright guys, well I paused it. I'm at 1 hour and 17 minutes and 49 seconds. They all just sat down eating Chinese food, waiting for Michael to get picked up by Sollozzo and McCluskey. I'm exhausted. I worked a long day today. And it's after 12 o'clock. It's close to 1. So I'm going to go to bed now. So we will resume this in the morning. Alright everybody, good morning. I've been up for a while. I brought my wife to work and did some stuff around the house. But it's almost 9 o'clock in the morning, and I am continuing on with The Godfather. I have to leave in like 1 hour and 15 minutes, so I might not be able to finish the movie right straight through. But when I come back, I'll finish it. And then we'll move on with part 2. Alright guys, so I'm at 1 hour and 17 minutes and 49 seconds. And it's frozen on Tessio's face. Time to press play. Alright guys, well, it's a little after 10 o'clock. Like I said, I gotta go somewhere. I have something set that I had to go do. Probably be gone for about an hour or so. But as you can see, I'm at the baptism scene in The Godfather, which means really only about like 15 or 20 minutes left. So then I'm going to start The Godfather Part 2. So yes, time to go, and then I'll be back. Alright everybody, well I just got back. So it's time to proceed again with The Godfather. I was hoping I was gonna watch these just straight and not have to keep taking breaks, but sometimes that's just how it is when I work for a few days and then I'm off again. I push everything to one day. So I'm gonna finish The Godfather. I'm gonna start The Godfather Part 2, then go pick up my wife for lunch. My car is getting worked on right now, so I don't have my car, so I'm driving our family car, I guess you could say, today. And so I'm going to go pick her up for lunch, bring her home, eat some lunch, and then she's going to drive back. So, and then for the afternoon, I'll be watching The Godfather Part 2, or finishing it. So, yes, let's go ahead and continue. Alright everybody, well I just watched The Godfather. There's really no point in me like going over plots of these movies, because everybody's kind of seen them. It's gonna be more like my reaction. I've seen this movie so many times, countless times, and there's one thing that always blows me away every single time. And maybe I think about it more since it's my favorite film of all time, especially the first two are my favorite films of all time. And they've been, so like, but every single time I watch it, I come to like different conclusions somewhat, and I see things that I haven't seen before. A funny thing I saw this time is at the beginning of the movie when they're at the wedding and they're, you know, Mama Corleone and different people are singing. There's an old man that sings, and if you look closely enough, when he's singing, you see his dentures fall out of his mouth, and he like catches them when he's doing it. I don't know if it was intentional and they just kept it in there, but I thought it was really funny. But one thing that really blows me away every single time I watch this film, let me turn it down, and it's the dynamic change that Michael makes. At the beginning of the movie, he's so, and the book does the same thing. In fact, the book, I've read the book so many times, and I think the movie is superior than the book. The book has there's some trashy stuff in the book that kind of takes away from, there's some trashy stuff in the book. Anybody who's read the book knows what I'm talking about. It's a little bit more of a trashier novel than the film, but there's some things they elaborate on more. Like Michael is such a young, gung-ho, pro, you know, American war hero. Everybody loves him, and he's so, like, you know, he's the college boy, kind of like how they mentioned in the movie, but he's fun. He's kind of funny too, and him and Kay are so in love. And there's some, like, you know, basically they lock themselves up in a hotel room, and they're basically in a hotel room for like days together, you know, just in bed. And there's actually a deleted scene that actually shows them in bed, and he gets a phone conversation from Tom. He calls Tom to let him know he's still in town. But they took that scene out. You can see it on the deleted scenes. But that's the reason why Michael is in New York, and he's seeing the film, you know, for him the bell tolls, and he's walking out and he sees the newspaper and it says that his dad died, and that's the first time that he found out. Some people might be thinking, well, why is he just now finding out by the time the newspaper comes out when he's in New York? It's because him and Kay didn't tell anybody that they were in town at that point, and they're just staying in a hotel room. And he made that one phone call to Tom in the deleted scene and in the book. And that's why when he talks to Sonny, and he says, when Sonny's like, why, we've been trying to get in touch with you. And he's like, well, didn't Tom tell you I called? It's because he told Tom what they were doing. But anyways, that's just one of the things. The book elaborates on a lot of that kind of stuff. In the book as well, you find, you don't see the assassination of Vito like right away. You actually come across, I'm pretty sure Michael stumbles upon the newspaper outside the movies. And then the next chapter, or the next part of the book, is the flashback to Luca Brasi and getting killed, and Vito getting the assassination attempt on Vito. And that works for the book. I don't think that would work for the movie, because you'd be like shocked and be like, whoa, and then it'd be like, what happened? It'd be a flashback. It works in the novel. Just realized my hair is kind of greasy from wearing my hat, and I haven't really shaved, but it's whatever. But so at the beginning of the book and in the movie, Michael is so like, he's like almost like a all-American player, like, sports star. He's just an all-American. But by the end of the movie, because of everything he goes through, and really it starts off, you can't really hear it unless you really listen for it, but there's the scene where he's like standing by the phone or sitting by the phone, and Clemenza and Tessio and Tom and Sonny, they're all talking about who they're going to kill and all that stuff. If you listen closely, you could hear, you see James Caan go, you hear James Caan go, hey, Mike, why don't you just stay by the phone, or, try Luca again. And you don't really hear it, but the reason why Sonny got back at Michael is because Michael said, you're really going to kill all those guys? And he's like, he's kind of disgusted at that point. But by the time he gets to that hospital and he sees that people are trying to assassinate his dad, he tells his dad, I am with you, I am with you. And you could see the emotion in him. And from that point on in the story, Michael is on the road to darkness. And by the end of the movie, when he gives Kay that cold look, and he just looks at her right in her eyes, and he lies and says, no. He is so ruthless by the end of it. And just a dynamic change that happens through it. You guys know I'm a big Shakespeare fan. I love reading Shakespeare. It reminds me of Henry IV, which is, the one that came out before Henry V. But in Henry IV, at the beginning, Henry IV is actually not king. He's not into being a king. He hangs out with people that are he kind of hangs out with a group of thieves, and hoodlums, and he's completely different. And by the end, he becomes king, and he is completely different. He makes that same dynamic change. And I've always thought about these movies in Shakespearean form by how the characters change. But yeah, I figured instead of going over like the plot, because I'm sure everybody who watches this video has actually seen or knows the plot of The Godfather, figure I'd just touch on some points that I just wanted to bring to my mind. But yeah, I love this film. So I got about 30 minutes before I got to go pick up my wife. So I'm going to go ahead and put in The Godfather Part 2, which of course is tied to my favorite film of all time with The Godfather Part 1. So let's go ahead and put this DVD in, shall we? I just realized I said DVD. I meant to say Blu-ray, of course. Alright. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Alright, everybody, well, been watching The Godfather Part 2. I went ahead and already did the lunch stuff, so now I'm trucking along watching The Godfather Part 2. My voice just cracked, I think.
Some deal.
Alright, everybody. Well, Ryan here, wearing my Godfather shirt, as always, whenever I marathon these movies. This shirt was actually given to me by a fellow YouTuber and friend, Angel Tarragon. So shout out to you. He got it for me about a year and a half ago or so. And, sorry, I was going to need pretzels, so I'm sure I got some in my teeth, but oh well. So, I spent the entire day, I ran a few errands, and went to the store and all that kind of stuff. But I also finished The Godfather after starting it last night. And I just finished The Godfather Part Two, which is, I don't even really call it a sequel. I just consider it like a companion to the first movie, because it stands on its own right. You don't really need to have seen the first movie to actually appreciate it. I know people that have only seen The Godfather Part Two and like it a lot. You know, their first time they saw it without seeing the first. So, yeah, I love the very soft spoken performance by Al Pacino. Like, there's so much evil and rage in his eyes. He has a few outbursts during the movie, but it happens, and it's not like a forced Al Pacino kind of a thing that he does, which he's like, you know, one of my top favorite actors, so I don't mind it. But he's very quiet in this film, but he's so calculating, he's so ruthless, conniving. He doesn't let anybody get past him, and it's just, I've always loved this movie too because of you know, the Havana sequence, the Miami sequence. It's just so it's such a sprawling epic in terms of location. I mean, you have some Lake Tahoe, you have some you know, you have some Senate committees, you have you know, Havana, which I'm pretty sure it isn't Havana. I think they used another city, like another city down there for it, just because I'm pretty sure you know, they of course didn't get past the embargo or anything like that at the time. So, but it's just everything about this film I love. The Godfather will always be my favorite film, but this one's tied as my #1 favorite film as well, and it's been, you know, like I've said a million times since elementary school, because it really alternates. Whenever I watch The Godfather, I'm like, it's my favorite film of all time. And then by the time I finish the second one, I'm like, man, the second one is a better movie. It's so good. And so I just kind of lump them into one, because I don't really consider them sequels because of, you know, just because they go perfect together. I always wish that some of the deleted scenes would have stayed in the film, notably the ones that introduce Hyman Roth and you know, the earlier storyline with Robert De Niro playing a young Vito Corleone. And you could only really see that on the deleted scenes portion of the Blu-ray set, or of course DVD, or the Godfather Saga, which is a kind of like the Godfather epic the Godfather epic they've been showing on HBO, the HD transfer. But I'm pretty sure the Godfather Saga is edited a little bit differently, where it incorporates deleted scenes. I remember watching that one growing up as well. I haven't seen the Godfather epic on HBO, but from what I've read, it's just like a, you know, a HD transfer of the Godfather Saga, or a completely different re-edit. Because I don't know if there's the deleted scenes. If you're watching this and you're, you know, a Godfather fan, if you already checked it out, let me know. Is it the same as the Godfather Saga, where it includes the deleted scenes, or is it just the movies in chronological order? Let me know. Of course, the Godfather Saga is in chronological order, but they include some of the stuff that, you know, the deleted scenes. And the Godfather Saga was originally made for network television as well, so I know they edit out some stuff. I think like the nudity from the first film. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that version. But yeah. So I love the film so much. I wish I would have been able to watch 3 today. I'll probably watch it tomorrow. But if not, I don't think I'll vlog about that one. Because I want to make this video of this marathon. I'm not sure if anybody will watch part 3 tomorrow. I love part 3. It's not one of my favorite films, but I love part 3. I think it is such an epic film. Some miscasting issues that you've heard about, but you know what? I think the story itself stands on its own. It is such a... I love the story for part 3. I love that whole Vatican Bank stuff. I love it. I love part 3. I've always loved part 3. I saw part 3 around the same time that I saw part 1 and 2 for the first time, so I've always had them all lumped together. These two are just my favorite, my personal favorite ones. Yeah, but I still love part 3. It probably would be on my top 50 or even top 100 favorite films now. And, you know, I don't understand some of the crap that it gets. I mean, I understand some of it, the legitimate complaints that people have for it, like some of the acting and some, you know, some of that stuff. But I really don't see some of the other people that say it's a shit movie, because I think that film is, I think it is so good. I think it's a great film. Suffers from the sequelitis thing a little bit, where there's a lot of references to the earlier films. Whereas, like, this one doesn't really do that. Part 2 doesn't really do that. It stands on its own. But you never hear them go... I mean, the only time you ever kind of hear it, which it kind of fits in the scene, is when Kay's like, Michael, reminds me of what you told me. You said in 5 years, the Corleone family will be completely legitimate. You told me that 7 years ago. That's referencing the earlier film, but not in a way of, The Godfather 3, where Vincent, freaks out and Michael's like, temper like his father. It's kind of like, forced kind of stuff. But I never really had a problem with that either. It just has a little bit of that sequelitis in it. It doesn't really stand on its own in that right. But the story itself, what it's about, the plot about what it's about, it fits because, it's about an aging Michael and he's reminiscing about his life. And it's kind of like what Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo always thought. They wished they would be able to call the movie The Death of Michael Corleone, because it's not really a part 3. The first 2 are companion films, and the third one, it was like an after, an epilogue. So they didn't really want it to be called The Godfather Part 3. They wanted to call it The Death of Michael Corleone, which I thought would have been great, because it would have had that story, and then him coming to terms with his sins and all that kind of stuff in regards to the Vatican and being at the Vatican and everything like that. It was a perfect epilogue for the story. And I think the film is unjustly crapped on, because I put Godfather Part 3, and I think it's, I like it more than a lot of the other gangster films out there that I also love. Me personally, I'll take The Godfather 3 over, Goodfellas. That's me personally. I love Goodfellas, 10 out of 10. Great film. I watch it at least once a year. It's a great film. I love Goodfellas. I'm not saying I don't love it. I'm just saying I think I prefer The Godfather Part 3. If I had to choose between the two, I will choose The Godfather 3 in terms of, doesn't mean I don't like Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese is still like one of my favorite directors. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little marathon video. About to go hit the shower, shave, get cleaned up, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna make dinner pretty soon. My wife will be home pretty soon. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more of these kind of marathons. I'm thinking about doing them once a month, different one every time. Not necessarily a trilogy of films or, part 1 and part 2 of any kind of films. It could just be an animation marathon, or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle marathon, that kind of thing. I have thousands of movies to choose from, so yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click like, comment down below, check out my marathon if you haven't yet, my 24-hour movie marathon, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.